This is Late Night Lead Talks TV. I'm Late Night Lead and I talk reality TV dating shows such as Married at First Sight, Love is Blind, The Ultimatum, and Ready to Love. So if you do enjoy that type of content, go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on when I upload a new video. Now let's get into Married at First Sight, Season 17, Episode 15. This episode was a drag. I could not believe it was a 90-minute episode. I was literally looking at the time, wondering, when is this going to end? This is boring. This is torture. This is so hard to watch. So this will be a very short review because this is tragic. This is tragic. Okay, so this episode is focusing on Chloe and Michael and their honeymoon. They go on a honeymoon to Colorado Springs. Now, they are really not getting the same experience as the other couples. The other couples had like a week in Mexico. They got what looks like to be a weekend in Colorado Springs. Now, it did seem like a nice vibe and all, but of course, Mexico, Colorado is not the same. I'm pretty sure they would prefer to be on a quote unquote reservation, in the words of Cameron, right? I'm sure would like to be on a resort as opposed to Colorado Springs, but Colorado Springs is still pretty nice. So it wasn't awful, but compared to the other couples, they really are getting a really rushed experience. However, I just want to say this. I think Chloe is gorgeous with no makeup. Chloe seems to be so pretty and have really great skin. So I just want to say that really quickly about Chloe. Looks really great for her age. And yeah, go Chloe. Now Chloe wakes up and her and Michael do their little spiel where they're describing their first night together. And apparently she had like 4 panic attacks where she was getting up and jumping up out of bed in the middle of the night, or just pretty much jumping awake. Now that is nerve-wracking. You know, I can't imagine what Michael was thinking, because that's pretty nerve-wracking. But this is what it's like when you marry a stranger and you have no idea about, simple things like how they sleep. And apparently she gets a panic attacks sometimes when she's stressed in her sleep. And of course, getting married to a stranger, yeah, that'll do it. That will definitely do it. So, this is unique. I haven't heard of this before. I don't think a lot of people have heard about this before. But, these are some of the things that people do experience, and it sucks. But Michael wasn't like creeped out about it. They laughed and joked about it. So, that was a pretty good thing to see, that they could just laugh it off. We did see they did a couple of activities together. They got massages together. They did some fun activities trying to face their fears. It did seem like a nice way to do adventures with people, because you can see how people act when they are, doing these strenuous activities, and how well they can hold it together. And you know what? When you do first meet someone and you go on vacation with them, you learn a lot about them. But they seem to be having a good time. One of the major things that we do learn is that Michael did not tell his mom about this second go round. Now, there are mixed reactions about this, but you have to understand, if Michael is 39, his mom is probably at least 60 or older. So, people in that age range, they're not trying to hear anything about, marrying a stranger and all of this. So she wasn't really even supportive of him marrying a stranger the first time. And now he's marrying a stranger the second time. And, we saw what happened the first time he was left at the altar. I'm sure the mom was going to be like, absolutely not. So I can kind of understand why he didn't want to tell her. I don't think he's ashamed. When it comes to Chloe, I don't think it has anything to do with her, of course. Given his situation and what happened the first time, I can understand him being skeptical about this second time. So I think that in a few weeks, when things are possibly going well between him and Chloe, he'll probably go ahead and tell his mom, like, hey, mom, guess what happened? I forgot to tell you. I went back to Married at First Sight and they found me someone again, and we actually got married. And we've been married for a few weeks. So, I feel like that makes more sense. But of course, people don't want to be a secret. They want your family to know. Chloe did seem like a little bit disappointed in her face. You could see it. But I think she also probably understood because this is a unique situation. But normally, we do give people slack for not telling their families. Now, Michael did say that he told his sister because he's very close to his sister. He has her initial on his neck and his mom on the other side of his neck. So he seems to be very close to his family, but this, I feel like, is an extenuating circumstance, seeing, what happened to him the first go round. So I have to give him grace here. And yeah, I can definitely understand why he's more hesitant to talk to them about it or, go through the whole, hey, I'm marrying a complete stranger. It's a lot. It's a lot. So I can understand. With Chloe and Michael, she has a bit of a breakdown at the end of the honeymoon, thinking about going back to the real world. I think she may have just been nervous, but I didn't like when she said, I don't think I could do this. I'm telling you, I don't think that I can do this. But Michael seems to reassure her and she seems to calm down. But they actually really do seem to like each other. So that's good. I feel like, maybe I'll be eating my words. If you didn't, go back and watch my video on why I think that Michael and Chloe will not work. But yeah, go back and watch that video and, maybe I'll be eating my words. I feel like they do seem to like each other. But they, again, do have a very short honeymoon. It seems like it's only a weekend long and not a full week. And, we will see what happens when they are living together in the real world. But they do seem to really get along. And we will see what happens. But honey, Married at First Sight changes so quickly. People always seem to like each other during the wedding and during the honeymoon. And it's usually during or right after the honeymoon that things go all the way left. So we'll see what happens because they have, of course, a short honeymoon. So let's see what happens when they get back. But Michael also packed 6 bags of clothing. Sir, you're doing way too much. I don't think I could get with a guy who was that much into his looks. We both can't be fashionistas and, we both can't do that. And Chloe is a minimalist, and I love that. I wish that I could be that. And when I do get a new home, I'm certainly going to be like that, I think, because, less clutter, throw things away, clothes that don't fit, give them away. There's no need to hoard them, right? So that is something that they differ on. But I don't really see them taking shots at each other. And it may not be that big of a deal, but we'll see. We also continue to see Michael's style and versus Chloe's style. Again, very different, but she doesn't seem to, have an issue with it. She seems to like him. So maybe this can work. Just maybe this can work. Hopefully. we're hopeful, but we're hopeful. Let's go ahead and move right along to Claire. We still haven't heard anything about Cameron, but we keep seeing Claire on our screens. I think Claire is here for the camera time. When a couple chooses to get a divorce, we should not see them anymore. Claire claiming that like Cameron, like she cares about Cameron or all this crap. You can't do that. You wouldn't have this reaction if he weren't sick. So don't have the reaction because he is sick. You know, and do you even really care, or are you faking to care for the cameras? Because you seem to be utterly just disgusted, you know, and repulsed when you were in his presence. That is how it came across on camera. Claire came across to be very cold and distant in her interactions with Cameron. She was clearly not attracted to him. Let me be clear with this. Let me be clear, Claire. Claire was not attracted to Cameron, okay? And she acted like it. What we're seeing between Becca and Emily, Becca is attracted to Austin. She wants to rip his pants off, literally. And that's why she is putting up with the lack of sex. Emily is attracted to Brennan. Brennan is a good-looking guy. I think he's the best-looking guy on the cast. I think he's probably one of the only good-looking guys on the cast. So because she's attracted to him, she's putting up with all this crap. But if the attraction wasn't there, they would both easily end things. We all know it. We all know it. We've all been with someone who we just thought was the most attractive person ever. On a scale of 1 to 10, they were a certified 20. Shout out to Usher performing at the Super Bowl. You know, we've all been with someone who we thought was top tier. And when they were putting us through BS, we were very easy to forgive because that person was just so hot. It's pretty much like pretty privilege. You know, girls have pretty privilege and some guys, they have pretty privilege too. So when you are that, you know, attracted to someone and you think they're really hot, you're more likely to put up with more BS from that person as opposed to someone who, you know, may not be the bee's knees. Yes. So Claire was not attracted to Cameron, so she didn't want anything to do with him. It was pretty obvious to us. And in my heart of hearts, I truly believe that Claire and Brennan is the same person. Claire and Brennan are the same person. Claire is the female version of Brennan. Except Cameron and Emily are not the same. Cameron had the balls to leave. Cameron was over this crap. He came on this show for a wife, not for a friend. And when it stopped working out, he tried a little bit and then he left. Point blank and the period. But the way that we saw Claire try to gaslight situations, I really feel like she is the female version of Brennan. On camera, she wanted to appear a certain way, and she has done it more successfully than he has. And we're not seeing her as much because her and Cameron have gone their separate ways. But yes, she is the female version of Brennan, and she ain't fooling me. Think about it. Clock that T. Think about it, people. Think about it. All right, so let's move on to Brennan. You know what? We're going to save them. Let's move on to Becca and Austin. So Austin claims that they could not be intimate because he was allergic to cats. Now, I'm not going to my grandmother's house with my partner and sleeping inside their house. I am going to go and get a hotel close by if I can, because the situation is so weird. It's so weird. But of course, Austin is like, you know what? I'm going to use going over to my grandma's house as an excuse not to have sex. And now I've just automatically, just suddenly developed a new allergy to cats. And oh, my throat was closing and I couldn't breathe. Sir, sir, sir. It's giving excuses. It's giving lies. It's giving that was something I came up with in order to avoid having sex. Please, please. Dudes will be sick with C19 and still want to get it in. Like, what are you talking about? But hey, at the end of the day, you can really tell that Becca is frustrated because she can't seem to understand why. Why? It's not like, some people, they have very low sex drives and they really don't need to have sex very often. But again, this situation is weird. Like, you know what you signed up for. You know, if you watch the show, whether a couple has sex or not is always a topic of discussion. If you knew that you would not want to, okay. Again, like, why are you here? If you're not willing to fulfill marital duties, why? Now, if he has some type of issue, some type of a trauma, talk to her about it. Talk to her about it. So she could leave it alone. That's the thing. If now I'm I try to be a reasonable person, and I'm like, maybe there is some type of a trauma in his life associated with sex, but you may want to say something because Becca really does seem like a very nice, understanding person. She seems like a sweet girl. I think she would understand. Someone who has, two autoimmune diseases, they will understand if you're not feeling well. I mean, if you're, having some kind of issue down there and that causes you maybe not to want to, I don't know. But if I were her, I would be wanting to get down to the bottom of things because, again, it just doesn't make sense. Sense is not being made here. Okay. Dr. Pia comes, and again, it's the same conversation. And it's to the point where it's like excuses. And, it's okay if he has had some type of an issue or, but you've got to say something to let people know so they can either, let it go or move on. Yeah, but he's not saying anything. It's exhausting. It's boring. It's tiring. I can't believe I got 18 minutes in so far, guys. I really can't. Let's wrap it up and go to Brennan and Emily. This episode was literally Emily talking to people, trying to pretty much convince her that she needs to call it quits. Now, I think production, of course, is probably begging them to stay together, but this is ridiculous. We see Claire talking to Emily, and Claire is pretty much telling her, you guys don't even seem to be friends. He doesn't seem to even like you as a person, let alone like you as a friend. So he definitely is not going to like you as a wife. Pretty much telling her like, why are you still holding on to this? And Emily is just giving Delulu. She's giving Delulu. Emily also was on the after party, and I think that Emily is jaded by this whole process, but she does come across very bitchy on the after party. She just does. And, at this point, some people are starting to feel like, hold on, who's the culprit here? Is it you or Brennan? Because the way she comes across in the after party, it's just not cool. She has all this smoke for everyone else, but super quiet and lies when the experts come to visit. And my thing is, production needs to fucking say something. She's fucking lying. They get a visit from Pastor Cal. Brennan and Emily get a visit from Pastor Cal, and Pastor Cal shows them their audition tapes and their interview tapes. And, pretty much Brennan says that, yeah, that's Emily. That's the wife that I have. She's the same person. But Brennan's tape, he was saying things like, I'm so affectionate and I'm really, loving and loyal. And it's like, where? No, you're not. No, you're not. And Emily she didn't have, the balls to be honest and say, no, that is not the same person that I have. She tried to say, there are parts of him in there, or no, just say, no, he's not the same person. But what really irked my nerves is when Pastor Cal asked her, are you happy? And she said, yes. And girl, that's a freaking lie. That is the biggest lie if I ever did. If I was in production, I would say, Now, we don't have all day to show Pastor Cal the footage, but we're going to ask you that again. And you need to be honest. Be honest. But somebody, what is going on? Because the continents are not meeting. In the words of Jessie Woo, the continents are not meeting. They're not. Okay? What is going on? You're lying. You're never going to get any type of resolution if you are lying to cover up your feelings because you're worried about what Brennan is going to say. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. Emily has a meeting with her friend, and her friend is pretty much like, why are you still here? And Emily's like, oh my gosh, I have hope. I have hope. And people really do think that Emily and Brennan actually did sleep together during the honeymoon. And that is why she's so invested. But I think she's so invested because she's never had a relationship and she doesn't want to be the one to pull the plug. But girl, I promise you, being alone and by yourself and finding happiness within yourself is way better than being with someone and unhappy. Especially being with someone who doesn't even like you as a person, as a friend, someone who would have never chosen you in real life. This is hard. This is hard. And I feel like what's going to happen to Emily next week, her getting into that accident, is going to be the excuse she needs to get away from him. Or the excuse Brennan needs to get away from her. Like, I'm going to stay at my own place and let her heal up. She's in the hospital. Yeah, I'm going to let her stay there. I really feel like that is going to be what probably breaks them up. Because we do not see footage of Emily and Brennan on decision day. We see footage of Cameron. We see footage of, Cameron and Claire. And then we also see footage of Becca and Austin, but we do not see any footage of Emily and Brennan on decision day. So I'm wondering if she's still in the hospital during that time. But I really feel like, this accident is going to be used as an excuse for him to go ahead and end things. Like, okay, something happens, so now we can break up for real. Who knows? Maybe we'll be surprised. Maybe he will realize how much he actually does care about her, and maybe he'll completely change. I mean, we'll see. We don't know. Maybe. I don't know. This is just hard to watch. Married at First Sight needs to make some changes because last season wasn't good. We had Dominique and Mac break up right after the honeymoon. We had Clint and Gina have that spat during their honeymoon, and they never worked it out. We had Aries and I forgot her name. Aries wasn't attracted to the person that he was married to. I mean, it was literally just, he had one couple stay together. And man, this season, I don't think Becca will want to stay with Austin if they're not going to have sex, because you're begging him to have sex with you for the first time. But then what's going to happen after that? Is it going to be a regular thing? Is it going to... No. I mean, this show, it's hard to watch. It's just not good anymore. They need to make changes. Apparently, they're going to be doing an older version with an older cast at 50 and up. That's what I heard. I don't know how true that is, but something's got to give, or let it come to an end, because the concept itself is pretty damn outlandish. That's all I got for you guys. Comment below and let me know your thoughts, your predictions. Do you think that Brennan is going to have a change of heart and suddenly start to care about Emily once she gets into this accident next week? Or do you think he'll use it as a reason to go their separate ways? Comment below. Let me know your thoughts and your theories on this very lackluster season. This is Late Night Ali Talks TV, and I am signing out.